this to BG1. Y'all ready? We're good to go.
Ready? Get it over with.
Dated. I probably could have done that.
It's all right. All right, I'd like to call the meeting to order. I'd like to welcome everybody and thank you for being here. And we will start off with saying the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just a reminder, there is a sign-in up here if you'd like to sign in. And do we have any revisions?
Yes, we do have a couple revisions, and it's on the agenda. Please, if you would look at under the bus garage, item B, it should also have BG1. There also, we're going to revise the BG1 for that project tonight. It already has BG2 and BG3. So if you don't care to make that revision. And also under Area Technology Center, we need to add two items. Item C is a approval for a survey for the road right-of-way, and I'll tell you what that is in just a little bit. And item D is a service contract for a sewer line investigation for the and I'm sorry, that should be D under bus garage. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Because that the sewer line investigation goes with the bus garage.
Is it A under bus garage? I'm sorry, I didn't see it.
Yeah, that's it. I'm sorry, it's already there.
Okay.
Peter, we thought we'd left it off, but it's on there already. Never mind. Just ignore D. So there's two items. BG1 under item number B, and then C is the survey for a road right-of-way under the Area Technology Center, and that would be the only revisions.
First on the agenda, we have recognitions, and we're going to start with our retirees.
Well, this is always I guess it's according to how you look at it, it's always a sad time in a school district when you lose employees that decide that it's come time to retire. But it's also a time of celebration for their years of service to the school district and for the contributions they made to our school district and how they've helped our children over the years. So it's always, as I said, it's sort of a happy, sad time. And I know that tonight we want to try to recognize our retirees and just give them a little token of our appreciation for their years of service to our school district. So I think what we're going to do is we're just going to start off, and I'm going to start off, Ms. Mullins, you're here. If you'll come on up, I'm going to let you start off, and we'll start with Estill Springs. And if you don't care, Mr. Covey, if you'll help assist her to hand out the retirement clocks, we'd love to do that. So you got the floor.
Okay.
Okay.
The first retiree that I will recognize is Marsha Webb. Marsha, you'll come forward. She gave me the eye. Marsha has been my cafeteria manager for the last 6 years with me at Estill Springs. And so this year in starting out, we had Miss Ruth Doyle, but you know, I have missed being able to go in the kitchen and just communicate, and I know Ruth will pick right up on Marsha's well-laid foundation, but I've missed Marsha, I've missed her friendship, and one thing that Marsha brought to all of our school was just a love for the Lord and a love for serving others, and that's something that definitely is missed. You were an encouragement and a witness to all of us, and I appreciate all the time that we've had together at Estill Springs, and I want you to come back when your days are over. It's just in time for like holiday meals and stuff, right? Okay. I'm giving you a hug, not a handshake. Love you. Thank you for everything. Yes. Oh, sure, you have to smile. Okay, thank you. Next, I'll have Miss Sandy Bonney come forward. Thank you. Oh, it's gonna make me cry. Sandy served last year as an interventionist for us at Estill Springs. And how many years did you teach kindergarten in the school system? 21 years. Yes. And it's such a bittersweet thing for me because Sandy started my baby in kindergarten and my baby's a senior this year. So I just now said that out loud. No, but we just spoke before the meeting that when her restraining order is over with the state, she was going to come back this year when her days are filled. I told her I have 2 kindergarten teachers who are pregnant, so I'm like, I need you to come do maternity leave. But Sandy is such a servant for others, for students, for staff. She's an encouragement. You know, even through having personal hurdles with her mother and taking care of her father when he was sick, she was still there every day encouraging others when really she needed so much of that encouragement. So I'm so appreciative of her years of service to the school system, and I'm especially appreciative for the years that you served at Estill Springs. Love you.
34 years total service, guys.
Oh, I forget. It's our Vanna moment. Robin Barnes. Need I say more? Robin actually retired at Christmas last year, and how many days did I text you in the mornings? Where are you? Where are you? You're not here. Many people don't know this, but Robin and I are also cousins. My grandfather and her mom were brother and sister. But Robin and I never had an opportunity to work together until I became the principal at Estill Springs. And she is someone who sees a need and meets it. She sees an opening or a gap or someone that needs help, and she's there to do it. She might growl. That's our joke. No, she does. And I have missed that. I have missed being able to say, what's your opinion? Help us out in this area. She was much more than a librarian. She was much more than an interventionist. She was a friend of the students, and the students have also missed you terribly. But how many years of service total for you? 30 years. So Robin has definitely been missed, and that is her testament, is the legacy they leave behind and the kids who still ask for them. So we've missed you, and we're ready for you to come back. Okay, love you. All right, we'll smile. We're going to get this one. Oh, here's our card. Love you.
I tell you what, Miss Andrea.
I didn't see you come in. Come on back. I didn't see Mary come in.
Okay, Mary.
She snuck in on me. Come on up, Miss Mary. You snuck right in on me. I hadn't even got a hug yet. Thank you. Mary Hardy. I've missed you. I know, I'm excited. Mary has been serving Baby Belly and all of our hearts for how many years at Estill Springs? Almost 23. As a teacher, she always would give me that extra spoonful of something. She is one who always knows those kids who need that extra hug, that extra love, or that extra piece of pizza. She also was one who serves others and just met those needs that no one else might have known about, but we got to see it. I miss her pinwheels terribly. We're having a potluck tomorrow. You want to make some? I thought about that when we scheduled it. But we have missed Mary's presence. I'm hoping when her days of restriction are over that you'll come back and help us, right? Okay. Making dresses. Now that's her job, is making dresses. But Mary has filled our cafeteria and our whole school with love, and we miss you, but we appreciate all your service to our school. Okay. Love you. Okay, we'll smile for our kids.
Miss Andrea,
tight squeeze there. Jimmy Bonney.
Miss Sheila, you
come
want
up
to
first?
come up and help? Thank you.
28 years. 19.
19, all right. Mr. Bonney just completed 28 years at Estill County School District, 19 at the middle school. He was a math teacher, a social studies teacher, financial literacy teacher. He filled a lot of different spots for us when we needed him. He's taught 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th in our financial literacy, right?
Coach.
Coached 6th and 8th basketball for how many years?
Over a decade, half a decade.
All right. So he filled a whole lot of shoes in our building, and he has been greatly missed. He just about didn't retire because there was a 6th grader coming in and said, please, Mr. Bonney, just one more year so I can have you. But
She let me off the hook.
she let him off the hook, so he retired on us. But we wish him all of the best, and we are very happy that we had 19 years with you. So thank you very much, Mr. Bonney.
Did you get it?
Wayne Hall. Wayne was also one of those that filled all kinds of shoes in our building. 10 years at the middle school, is that right?
No.
No,
11 altogether.
11 altogether at the middle school.
No,
No.
bus for.
Bus and
Middle
everything.
school six.
Gotcha. Okay. He
Drove the bus off and on all the time.
He was a sub bus driver, he was a custodian, he was the candy giver, and the donut giver, and the soda pop giver for those kids. They just go into his little office and they knew there was something there waiting for him. A tub of pencils, if they couldn't find their pencils, he kept that with him.
Sharpened him up for him.
Yeah, painted walls, if we needed something painted, Wayne was there on the Saturday, Sunday, he'd give up his day to come and paint for us or make sure everything was fixed. So our new custodian has a big shoe to fill with Wayne missing there because he did everything that you didn't have to ask him to do. He just filled it in for us. So that's right. We sure do miss you, Wayne. Best of luck.
You should have worked it out.
He is not with us tonight. So he had, was he 25 years?
Brian actually served
29
29
He
years.
was more than you. So we had almost 70 years there of retirement in our building. So they are definitely missed.
Miss Arvin? Who are you starting with?
Doris. Miss Doris Harrison has chosen to leave us at Christmas last year. So that was not a very nice Christmas present. But let me tell you, Miss Doris is one of those folks that as I joined the West Urban Families Principal, she was always there with a smile. But that was not just for me. She was willing to do that for everybody. And if you all didn't know about this about Doris, you know, she had to work with her husband and her sister-in-law. I mean, doesn't that not get her a star in heaven? And Steve's probably watching us, you know, at a break at work right now, and I'll probably be in trouble tomorrow. What do you think? But, you know, Doris was back there, and she was saying, think about all the parties with those babies. And not only did she party with them, but then she helped clean up after them. If they were sick, she was one of the first people to get to them. Honey, let me help you get to the office. Let's just get you what you need. Just constantly. If it was somebody that was hurt on the playground, she was one of the first ones called not only to help clean up, but to give them a hug, to pat them on the back and make sure they got there. So we definitely miss you, Doris. And we miss your smiles and your love. And I know you're going to have a great time. You all know she has grandbabies at home. So, and a sister she's taking care of, so I know you're still very busy.
Yes.
We love you, and we miss you. Great smile. The next person I'm very envious of, Missy Burkhardt. You all know we went to high school together, and she left me too soon.
Oh, I thought you was talking about Tim. You was mentioning Tim.
No, Missy and I were in high school. And my goodness, you know, I have to go all the way back to high school because, you know, I moved into Estill County. I was kind of I don't know what I was, an immigrant. It was rough. But there was always that person, a few people, that had a smile on their face, and no matter how ornery I might have been, came with kindness, and that's the only thing I ever remember. So when I was blessed enough to join the West Urban family as principal, I was just blown away by what Missy brought to that media program, because she brought such compassion, not only for the curriculum, but for the children themselves, always encouraging them to be better, to lift them up, to help them find the best within themselves. It was just such a joy to watch her with the kids. And you are truly missed, Miss Burkhardt. We love you. And I'm glad Tim gets you, but I'm sorry we missed you. Can we have her?
Yes.
Are you going to get it? You know, you get it the last one.
No, I don't. This is your moment.
There is one other person that I would just feel terribly amiss if I did not mention, and that is Miss J. Hughes. I believe we calculated how many years of service?
60.
60 years. I did not have the pleasure of knowing my husband's grandmother, but Miss J actually taught with his grandmother in, it may have been a 3-room school, but you know, a 1-room school kind of setting is where Miss J started, and then moved to West Urban and watched that old building that is no longer even there grow from a few rooms to a few wings to an outside, and she was there for every single moment of that. She came into our new school, and the thing about Miss J was she never lost the passion for helping students. It was never gone. And I am wondering, how in the world does a person hold on to a passion that deep and keep it that alive for that many years? And yet she did. And we have missed her, the kids have missed her, and she is with her husband right now, who I have been told is in the hospital. So if you are a praying person, please mention her and her husband in your prayers tonight, and just wish her a happy retirement when you do run into her.
And I just wanted to show everybody, I hope everybody else doesn't get mad, but because of 60 years of service, we decided, and we know that Miss J, she's got a wall that she keeps plaques on from all of her years of teaching and all of her recognitions. And we decided that she deserved a plaque for her 60 years of service, and we'll be giving this to her as well. So what a career. What a career. So I think she deserves a great tell you what, Miss Belinda, if you want to come up, and I know that a couple of your cooks we've already recognized, but let's recognize Chris. You want to come with her, and I should have brought her up a minute ago. Come on up, and you too, and I'll lead right into you after that. I don't know. You may have drove these people into retirement. I don't know. You think so? And you're planning on retiring yourself here in a little bit.
I got my clock up there. It's already waiting.
I think Tim and Dickie already threatened to retire tonight, and I told them they couldn't get a clock to December, so they're out.
Next June.
You want to start, Miss Patricia? You gonna bring Connie up first? Miss Rhonda, you want to help?
Get with Weymouth, right?
Well, Connie's been a cook for us, I think she said 22 years total. 20 total, yeah. 20 years and then 2 years 7. So that counts some. But I've known Connie since 2009 really well. I've built a relationship with her, a friendship with her. And we've grown together, and had grandbabies together, and so forth. But she's a great worker. She's dependable. You can count on her. She was always there. She didn't squabble to me anytime I asked for changes in the kitchen or whatever. She always don't know. she did things. But like I said, she didn't squabble to me. She always did it with a smile, and I appreciated it. And if she squabbled, it's okay, because I squabble sometimes. But I certainly have enjoyed getting to know you over the last 10 years and building a friendship with you. I wish you the very, very best in retirement, and we do miss you, and they miss you too. So you can come back when your days are over now. Yeah. So you can come on back anytime you want to.
I'd just like to say how much I appreciate them having plenty of ball players for me to coach and their grandchildren now. But I will say the first game that I ever coached as an employee and a teacher, the other team kicked the ball to her son and he ran it back for a touchdown. And I said, I want to know where his parents are at. So that was just the start of a long and fruitful, and really, and I'm all serious now, but the way they have contributed to our kids in this county, not just as a cook, but in support of our athletes and their extracurricular programs, they've done a lot. So my hat's off to her and her whole family. And God bless you all. It's been a pleasure to work with you and to know you. And I'm her mother's pastor now. What's going on?
I think Miss Pat's not here tonight, Brenda. Pat not here?
No, Pat did not make it.
Pat did not make it. But Pat also retired from the high school this past year, and she had 15 years of service to our kids. So I just want to recognize her before we go on. All right.
All right. I think a couple of mine are not here tonight, Miss Flynn and Mike Jones. So I'll go ahead and ask Margaret Wood to come on up. I got another story to tell here. My freshman year, a Wiseman played center and could have snapped it to a Wiseman playing quarterback, who could have turned and tossed it to a Wiseman playing running back, who could have thrown it to a Wiseman playing receiver, and there was a Wiseman on the sideline cheering for that whole play. So it really is quite a legacy, and if you all know Margaret, she's a go-getter. She always has been ever since I've known her. If she gets something that she thinks we need, our kids need, she's very persistent at it, and it's paid off. This year I think we've got some tremendous things going on in athletics, and I think a lot of it has to do with Margaret Wood and what she was able to bring about, what she was able to do. Some statistics: she was 14 years a nurse. I still consider her my personal nurse. I feel bad, I call Margaret. What do you think? What should I do? She was 15 years in special ed. She was 5 years at the middle school, 10 years at the high school. She was assistant athletic director at the high school, 2 years in district athletic director, 1 year. The most incredible stat is that she has been married to Dan Wood for 32 years. So, God bless her, because I know that man pretty well. I know how he is, but she's a wonderful lady and a dear friend. And I love her to death. She knows how much I love her, but we don't agree on political things.
We agree to disagree.
That's right.
And to give you an example of what Chris was talking about, Margaret really worked hard last year in terms of getting an athletic trainer for our athletes. And she set her mind to it and worked on that. And this year, we have an athletic trainer for our athletic program, and it's because of her hard work. I would go ahead and say Miss Gina Flynn wasn't able to be here, and she had 27 years of service to our children, and also Mr. Mike Jones with 18 years of service here in the school district. So we appreciate both of them. I guess that leaves Mr. Burkhardt.
Angie Flynn, who is retired from the transportation department, I worked with Angie. She's been 18 years in the district. I worked with her as a supervisor for about 2 years, but I've worked with her as middle school principal and assistant principal all the rest of the time. So I've known Angie around, being around our kids. Bus driver's the first person the kid sees of the morning, last person the kid sees of the afternoon, and they have a tremendous job, making a lot of connections, and those connections transfer from the bus on into the school. Angie was one who would take a lot of trips, so her day typically began at dark and ended at dark. So Angie has hauled kids all over eastern Kentucky for extracurricular events. And one thing that stands out to me is she was involved, and I guess still is, with Special Olympics, and would not only drive and do so forth with sponsors with Special Olympics, but she was actually somebody who worked with the kids with that. So hopefully, Angie, being out now, your health will get better, and we wish you the best.
And I guess our final recipient would have been Miss Polly Hall. She was a bus assistant. Is she here?
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
I thought that was her.
Get up here, Bob.
That's why.
Make some noise.
He was about ready to forget her.
Well, yeah, Wayne announced early, and Polly announced kind of late on the program. Polly, how many years did you have total?
Altogether,
13. Polly was a longtime bus assistant with the district, and again, transportation personnel, the ones that are on the bus, the ones that are working with the little kids, and not only the little kids, but the connections they make with the older students on the bus. The many years that Polly and Wayne have put in, because you all were together on some of the route during Wayne's time as teenagers. So Polly, congratulations, and like I said, you kind of were a late retiree on this. So.
Wayne wanted me to do it.
You gotta do what the boss says.
Now, he drove the bus and you rode with him. Does he ride with you now, or does he still drive the car too?
He's shaking his
He
head.
gets drives pretty good.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have the National Institute for School Leadership trainees.
Miss Isaacs, you want to come up and help me with this, and I'll bring up our two graduates. If they'll both come up.
I think y'all got it. Lisa Reese and Jessica Mullins.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Yeah, watch that door on the right. It'll hurt you. Kick that door on the right and kick back. It won't open. Hey, Peggy, make them grab a cookie on the way out.
Yeah. But it's okay.
Thank you all. Thanks, everybody.
All right, brother, I'll bring them out over to you.
Thanks, sir.
Mr. Saylor called these two ladies trainees, but really I think they're graduates.
Graduates.
Because
It's his
you know,
training.
it's just like going to college. And so we're very excited that we've joined our little club here. Andrea and I went last year before last, and then Jess and Lisa went this year. And it really is a great opportunity to go through it. I actually missed it this year, not being able to go. One of the main things, I think, you just meet so many colleagues and you form relationships with people and you learn so much from one another. And so, and good food. Yeah, yes. The meetings always are at Hamburg for our county. And so you pick every time where you're gonna eat lunch. So it's a great opportunity, but I'm proud of you all.
Thank you.
Yeah, and this is our third and fourth Estill graduate. I'm gonna let you present the medals today. And one of the things that when we all began this journey together 4 years ago was that we wanted to make sure that we built leadership capacity within our school district. And so now we have 4 Estill trainees that are now graduates, and we have 2 new trainees this year that's with us in the audience, and that's Mr. Yost and Miss Mickey Tucker, who are currently enrolled in the Estill program. Y'all done been your first? Getting ready to. It's coming up here in just a
Mr.
few
Arthur's
weeks.
going after that, right?
Nikki's going next after
Nikki's
that,
going
right?
next after them.
Listen, he is well above going to Estill. I mean, we're gonna train him for the Democratic National Committee. But no, we do have 2 more joining them, and we're really appreciative of individuals that want to step out in leadership, because it takes good leadership in a school district for us to be successful. As you all know, we had our first 4 National Board Certified teachers this past year. We're expecting more National Board Certified teachers. We'll know that sometime late fall, around December. So maybe late fall or early winter, we'll know who those individuals are. So we're very appreciative for the hard work that they put in. And Mr. Yost and Ms. Tucker, we wish you all nothing but the best too as you strike out on this journey. And it is something that will help you in educational leadership for the rest of your career. So thank you all.
For allowing us to do that.
Thank you all.
Well, I want to appreciate KDE, and I'll thank KDE. This is a very expensive program, and if we were having to fund this, it'd be very difficult for us to send individuals. But Miss Susan Greer, who is a part of the turnaround leadership team at KDE, they've been very gracious to work with us during the past 4 years, and they provided this opportunity for our administrators, so a big thank you to her.
Okay, moving along, next we have facilities, and we have a construction update, and I think first we have the roof project.
Thank you, guys. For the roof project this month, we have their monthly pay application. This is from Riddle Construction, and it has been reviewed by the design team, and we do feel like it represents work that has been installed and completed, and we recommend approval. So the total is $25,975.61.
And I recommend approval as well.
Do we have a motion? We have a motion. Do we have a second? Any discussion?
Peter, just a quick update on the roof project. We're ready to about close out, correct?
We are, yeah. The last time that I was talked to Brandon, we're working on the final detail up on the roof there with one of the low slope areas. That's why you see a couple of red lines on the pay app. We're kind of making some adjustments so that they can get that in, and they are wrapping it up. We should be here next month with finals, I would assume.
Yeah. On both projects, Estill Springs
yes,
and the roof project.
absolutely.
So it'd be good to finalize those where we can get them closed out, turn our sights towards new projects.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Okay. All right. So next we have the bus garage.
All right, in item A, we have approved a service contract. This is for Roto-Rooter. It's my plumbing engineer indicated that in order to effectively tie into existing infrastructure, they need to have a sanitary line scoped, and they need to do that relatively quickly. So we're here tonight asking the price for the services is $645. It includes $270 for travel and $375 for the camera service. And that will get us on our way with completing the bus garage construction documents.
It will actually keep them from having to guess where this sewer line actually ends up at. It's all part of tying to the existing system, so my recommendation is to approve that contract. And that's in line with other work we've had them do for us in the past, so.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Any discussion? All in favor? Okay.
We'll start BG1.
Actually, it goes at the end.
Okay, good deal. Okay,
Related. So,
good deal.
if we're going to do all of this together, I probably will first of all, just hold this up. This is, the last time I was here talking about the bus garage, I probably had two 11 by 17s. And after getting the good news that we were ready to proceed with construction documents, it has bloomed to about a 46-page set of documents that we've been working on getting together with all different kinds of consultants. And so tonight we're here sort of asking you guys to approve these documents, sort of a review set so that we can send it on to Frankfurt, to the Kentucky Department of Education and Housing, Building, and Construction, and they can start their review of the project and give us comments. When we
You
do
have
that,
copies of that for them?
of this,
No, the BG2, 3.
I do.
Okay.
So along with that, the Kentucky Department of Education, when we come here to, this is the BG2, when we come here with construction documents, they ask that we come with an updated BG2 and a BG3, which is a cost estimate form. There might be some extras in there, and I probably should come down here and collect one.
Here they are.
Oh, perfect.
And if the press could get one, Peter, it'd be great.
Okay. So just so you know, the BG2 is a form that sort of provides you and the Kentucky Department of Education sort of an idea of what the energy design criteria is for the building. So it's a 3-page document that sort of kind of allows us the opportunity to let them know if there are any alternates in the project, let them know what the building construction type is, what the energy design is, which is a really important part of this form. And then as well, we sort of make sure that we cover any kind of finishes for them on that one as well. And then the BG3, which is a statement of probable cost, sort of gives you a breakdown of how we think this project, this is a cost estimate form that the design team has put together along with the fiscal agent to determine what we sort of feel like this project is going to cost, right? And so the first agenda item would be to approve the construction documents, the BG2 and the BG3. If the BG3 is approved, then you'll want to approve a revised BG1 because it's a little bit different. The existing BG1 is a little bit lower than this BG3. And to give you all just a quick summary, site development costs and were a little bit higher than we anticipated when we did the BG1. This building sits back away from the road, and getting up that hill is going to be quite a trick. And the fueling station portion of this particular project proved to be elaborate, and it's a heavily regulated design as well. So those are two of the principal reasons that the price jumped just a little bit for us on this one.
Just so you all know, in the original BG1, we were right at $2 million. That's, of course, when, at that time, that original BG1 came about when we was even considering the industrial park as a possible site. The big difference is that the road at the industrial park went right to the lot. This lot actually sets, approximately, it's not quite a quarter of a mile, but it's probably 4/10 of a mile off the road. So, I mean, so it's, what it is, that's over a quarter of a mile. So it's a little bit over a quarter. So anytime you start building a road and the sewer infrastructure that's got to be involved with the utility work that's got to be involved there. Also at the early on, we were looking at maybe a above ground storage fuel tank. Since then, we've just decided that it's probably better not to do that. Now, especially with a building that's going to be setting back off the road the way it does, we felt in-ground was a lot better. So that's the reason why you've got the increased cost. If you get to building the road, you know that you're talking about a lot of money. And we sat down on Tuesday afternoon and we hammered out a lot of details on this to try to get it to a number that we would be pretty close on. And Tim and I went down and we sat down all of Tuesday afternoon and feel pretty confident with this. And I would ask you at this time, my recommendation so we can move forward on the time schedule that we have is to approve the construction documents along with the BG2 and BG3 for this project.
I don't think so. We do a motion, one motion.
All three of those can be
One motion.
It's one motion to approve the construction documents in the BG2 and BG3, so it's one motion.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion, do we have a second? Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? All right.
Then I think we probably would like to tackle the revision of the BG1, since that was written out. I've got a copy of it as well for you guys. We're on to one this time. This is a 2-page form, so the first page is actually probably faced down with the yellow on it. It sort of gives you a description of the project. And the second page is where you will see the numbers, which is a statement of probable costs that has been revised to match the BG3 that was just approved.
This document does reflect the figures that you just approved on the BG3. Again, showing the total project cost of $2.5 million. So my recommendation to you all is to approve the revised BG1.
We have a motion, do we have a second? Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Motion carries.
All right. Hey, or do we want, I can hang up here just a little bit?
You want approval
I'm
to
very fortunate.
advertise for bids
Oh,
for bus garage?
absolutely,
We're very
yes.
good.
I'm sorry, I didn't see that, but we will need to do that before next month.
Hopefully, this project will have went to bid before the September board meeting. So we need approval to go to bid pending KDE approval.
You have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
A second, okay. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay.
Now you can turn around.
Now, yeah.
Fantastic. So we're going to cover the Area Technology Center. I'm really glad that Randall Johnson from Codell Construction is here to talk about the demolition package of the Area Technology Center. He's been on the ground and can provide you guys an update and give you answer any questions.
Hey, good evening. We are wrapping up the demolition phase at the Technology Center. All the construction fences up with the gates. Construction entrance is completed. Sediment fence is all up. The curb for the bus loop has been removed. It's ready to put back to make it easier for the buses to get around. The gate at the parent pickup has been removed. That area has been widened so the cars can pass each other in and out. And the existing buildings, footers and slabs have been demolished and hauled to the dump. The fuel tanks have been removed, and the good thing about that is all the samples come back, they were clean. So we had no contaminated soils to contend with. Today, we poured 200 cubic yards of concrete in the pit where the fuel tanks came out. This was filled up to the top of the bedrock, so everything is good there. Tomorrow we'll backfill that up to existing grade with dense grade, and the job is complete. So Tuesday we're having a monthly management meeting. Michael and Peter will be there to do a final walk to see if there's anything that we have left out. We anticipate that we'll be close to this job out on Tuesday.
Peter, just to be asking, I would assume that at the September board meeting, there'll be some deductive change orders from this part of it?
There absolutely should be some allowances that are going to be, that will come back to the district, yes.
When that project was bid, there was allowances in there that allowed for contaminated soils and those types of things, but since they weren't there, there'll be some allowances coming back from that contract price.
Any other questions on the construction?
Thank you.
Thank you. Pay-up one.
Pay-up one.
We'll have that.
Yes, they've got it in their packet.
That's the first pay-up for the job to Innovative. Total that I looked at on my email was $67,574. We request approval for that. And at the next board meeting, it will be the final pay-ups to be approved.
Yeah, I think along with the construction manager's fee and suppliers, I think the total was $105,298 total. 67 was just for the work completed by the contractor, and the rest of it was design fees and those types of things. So it's for $105,298, and I recommend payment of that bill.
Do we have a motion? Okay. Do we have a second? Any discussion? All in favor? Okay.
And I did add item C there just to let you know a little bit. Of course, with the EDA grant being approved, we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. Of course, all of the construction documents have to go to Atlanta for the approval by EDA. I saw the email today. Those construction documents left Ross Tarrant today. They have them electronically. They also went by mail this afternoon. I know that all of the bid documents left Codell's office yesterday, and in terms of electronic format to them, and of course it was included, I think, in some of the stuff that Peter had today, or it come to you all as well. So those items are there, and as soon as the EDA gives us approval to bid, we've already got approval from KDE. So we're ready to go to bid pending KDE approval. There is one item that that I did add to the agenda, and that was the survey for the road right-of-way. As part of the package for the Area Technology Center, as you know, a lot of the parking now that has been used by the high school will be used by the Area Technology Center. So one of the alternates as part of this project is to add additional parking in the front of the high school off of Engineer Drive. And one of the holdups with that is that the county owns the right-of-way. to that property. And KDE is very stringent on the fact that we cannot spend school district money on county property. So we have worked with the judge executive to figure out exactly how we can get around that requirement. And what the judge executive and the magistrates have agreed to is they're going to deed us that road right away that would include the parking. And what that will do is that will allow us to use our money. It's only about $15,000 to $20,000 to that portion of that project, but we couldn't have spent that money without us owning the property. So we are going to have to get a survey on that road right away. It's about a strip of property that's about 7 feet, probably by 250 feet or something like that in front of the high school. So in order for us to have them deed us the property, which they're going to give us the property, we have to have a survey of that so we can record it at the courthouse. So that's what item C was. I was asking for permission, if you all would grant, for us to get a survey of that property. Peter and them, they will solicit bids for that so that we can get the best price possible. We've already got a surveyor in there, so they've got most of the information. I think it'd probably be hard for another surveyor to beat what they've already done because they've done a lot of this legwork. But I just need permission from you all to pursue that once they've got a price that I can move forward. Because I think definitely on that project, we have a parking deficit already. So that by all means would be a good part of that project to go ahead and have that parking done. So this has just put us in line to go ahead and accept that alternate. So my recommendation is if you all would allow me to approve a survey for that so we can get the physical court to act on it.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. So next on the agenda, I think we have facility bonding update.
Yeah, and I asked Mark Rawlings with Hilliard and Lyons to put together just a bonding update for you all, just so you would know in general where we're at. We don't know exactly what the bus garage bid is going to be. The BG1 is an estimate of that, and they try to get it as close as they can. I've seen projects come in way under that budget. I've seen projects come in above that budget. Same thing on the Career Tech Center. It's a $12.5 million project. We have $9.7 million of grant funding, so there's going to be some bonds that need to be sold as part of that project as well. So just basically so you would see where we're at with bonding. As it stands right now, you can see what our bonding capacity is right now would be that it's at $11,605,000, and that's with 100% equalization. That's what we would have leading up to this project. Now just realize we're getting ready to bond somewhere between $6.5 to $7 million. So we're going to have approximately $6 million, give or take a little bit, once these two projects go to bid. We'll know that bonds will sell sometime the end of October. So we're going to know exactly how much money that we have at that time as we look forward then to the high school renovation. You'll see on my superintendent's activity report, I met with engineers today, and I know y'all may want to kill me, but I met with them today talking about the high school renovation. Because that's one of the things, that was the 3 projects that we promised the people when we started to talk about the recallable nickel. I made it clear that Estill Springs was my #1 priority along with the roof projects because those two things needed to be taken care of. The Area Technology Center was our 3rd priority, our 2nd priority, and our 3rd priority was the final renovation of Estill County High School, which brings along with that the upgrade of athletic facilities. So I just want you to know that we're going to have somewhere around $6 million worth of bonded potential, and that's going to determine exactly what projects can be done into the future. And we can explore some different things. You know, we've been very fortunate. If we hadn't got the EDA grant, we would have no money to move forward. So that's why that EDA grant was so important to us. So just wanted to give that to you. There's no action on that tonight. Mark will be here the September meeting, and we may have to have a special called meeting in there. It's just according when the bids come in, whether or not we'll be able to do it at the regular called meeting. If we have to have a special called meeting, we'll do so, but Mark will be here at that time to sort of finalize and nail down exactly where we're at. And of course, a lot of things is going to be determined there. You just had a drop in interest rates. So that means that our bonding capacity, in terms of the future, you know, they're talking about maybe another interest rate drop here in the next little bit. That will increase our bonding potential. So equalization, exactly how the bonds are equalized, that will impact our bonding potential. And of course, in order for us to have that $6 million, the General Assembly this spring will have to equalize that nickel at 100%. They've never failed to do that. But in this day and climate, we just don't know. We've got enough bonding potential to do what we're going to do right now, and then we'll be very dependent upon them this spring to equalize that nickel at the 100% level. If they don't equalize the nickel, then we have no money left. We've spent our money on these 2-3 projects. Okay, so I just wanted to update you all on that to let you know where we were at. Anybody have any questions?
Okay. Next on the agenda, we have to set the 2019-2020 tax rates.
Real quick, you have the notice in there from the Kentucky Department of Education on the tax rates for our school district. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mom.
Is that nice, Ed, or are you reading me wrong? Okay, thank you. We might stay after and look at those for a while.
Okay, sounds good.
We have the tax rate schedule, and if you look at report 1, which is the second page of the tax report, is where we really need to get to. As you all know, I'll just give you a little bit of history. 3 years ago now, the school district passed a recallable nickel. There's 2 of the 3 sitting board members that's still part of the board at that time when the nickel passed. And I think as superintendent as well, we told the public that if you'll give us the nickel, we will not raise taxes for 4 years. Because the nickel was going to be equalized. Every dollar we've raised, we've got about $2.20. So the nickel tax for every dollar the local community put up, we got another $2.20. That's why we've got $20 million worth of bonding potential. That's why we've been able to do the projects that we've done, and that was a promise that they made. And I think that Ms. Samples and Mr. Covey have no problem that we continue to honor that promise, because I know that we want to be very good stewards of the money that we had, the money that we have, and we can operate the school district without having to have a tax increase. I will tell you this coming legislative session will be huge, because there are a lot of unfunded mandates that's come about because of Senate Bill 1, and those items are in law, pending with a delay on implementing those mandates based on a budget session that's getting ready to come up. If they fail to put money in the budget for some of those mandates, then that's going to fall back to responsibility of the school district. And as you know, the school district has had a lot of unfunded mandates over the last decade. So this budget cycle will have a big determination in terms of what has to happen in terms of tax rates in the future for this school district. But I feel very comfortable in recommending to you all tonight that I feel like that we can take the compensating tax rate with exonerations, which is something that we've always do. We're allowed to take an exoneration rate of 0.2 cents, and that is to make up for those taxes that have not been paid. So if you take the compensating tax rate of 50.9 cents plus exonerations, that brings our tax rate to 51.3 cents per, 51.1 cent for every $100 of evaluation. The current tax rate is 51.3. So it's actually a rate deduction of 0.2 of a cent per $100 evaluation. But so you all know as a board, that 51.1 cents will still generate an additional $12,000 of revenue this school year, which makes up for the fact that we took the compensating rate last year. We lost about $10,000 last year by taking the compensating rate with exonerations. So this, because of an increase in assessment, will actually gain that $12,000 back. So I feel very comfortable in recommending to you all that we take the compensating tax rate plus exonerations for the 1920 school year. And that's my recommended motion.
Do we have a motion? Thank you, Jen. Do we have a second? Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Also, as part of this, you'll need to set the motor vehicle and watercraft tax rate. It's been 54.8 cents for the entire time that I've been here. I don't know how long that goes back, but I think it goes back quite a while. So the recommendation or the recommended motion on motor vehicles and watercraft is 54.8 cents. And that is my recommendation.
Motion, do we have a second? Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
And I think I can speak for the board, and if any of the board members do want to say something, we will be able to run the school system on the current tax rate, and we plan on honoring the promise that we made. We can't ask for the district and the community to trust us if we can't make a promise to keep it. So we'll continue to do that.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have our salary schedule revisions. And the first is to approve a 1% raise for employees.
Okay, I know that we've been working on this since May, and I've worked very closely with Angie on our budget. And as you know, we are in the process of getting, pretty much, we've got the year closed out, and the auditors are ready to come in. And as you all know, we tried to keep right around a $1.6 million contingency, which is above what the state recommended rate is. It's a little bit below what most businesses would want to carry. But $1.6 million is a pretty hefty contingency in case there was some type of an emergency in our school district. We actually rolled at the end of the year about $1.9 million. So we rolled an additional $300,000. And that's what we were looking for in terms, okay, can we give our employees a 1% raise and not put the school district in jeopardy? The answer to that question is 100% yes. We can do that. And I think our employees deserve a 1% raise. And my recommendation to you all is that we approve a 1% raise, which costs approximately about $130,000. And then by the time you add step increases and rank changes in there, you're talking about another $120,000, give or take a few thousand. So between the raise, the step increase, and all of the rank changes, you're looking at about $250,000. We were able to roll enough funds to cover those, and then have funds left over that we're using on some of the maintenance projects that we have undertaken in our district. And I know that people can see a lot of work that's been done on our schools and some of the projects that's being done. And that's what the money's there for. We want to spend it on the students. Does us no good to have $3 or $4 million in the bank and we have students and schools that have needs. So we want to make sure that's all part of being a good steward with your money as well. So my recommendation to you all is that we approve a 1% pay raise across the board for all school employees.
Have a motion? In a second? Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. So next
And I will say this, just so that you'll know, Angie and I are not only just looking at this current year's budget and how it rolls, we're also looking into the future on next year's budget. You all approved the tentative budget here in you approved the working budget here in September, and you'll see that we're going to have a pretty good budget, and we've got a lot of projects in there that we're working on. But looking into next school year, we feel already pretty confident that if the board so desires, I believe that we'll be able to offer another 1% pay raise next year without putting the board in any jeopardy. A lot of the cuts and stuff, and I know sometimes people think, well, there's been too many cuts made, there's been too many things done in terms of school districts. But you know, you have to also be very cognizant of, you want to make sure that when you're dealing with personnel and those types of things, it's one thing to have enough personnel, it's another thing to be have too many and to be overstaffed. And right now, the cuts that we've made during the last 3 years, not including this past spring, but the cuts we've made over the last 3 years, they're just now starting to show up. It takes 2 or 3 years for that to start showing up in your budget. And that's starting to show up in our budget in terms of our revenues. We'd sort of talked about not buying buses next year, this current school year. But I think we've got a need for buses and the budget looks very favorable. So I'm probably going to come back to y'all in October and ask you to buy a couple school buses. And we'll talk about that as the time goes on. I mean, we've got to be able to get our kids back and forth from school. Budget is very favorable right now. It's something that we've done a good job as a district team getting in shape. So I feel like that you know, I'm not willing to recommend tonight a 1% for next year, but I do feel good about next year as well. And we want to make sure that our employees are well paid. They work hard. We want to make sure that they're well paid.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have revisions to the extra service supplements.
And these are just a couple minor revisions, and I just wanted to point those out to you real quick. The first one has to do with our ROTC instructors, and that's the second page over. And if you'll see on both of those, it's the only 2 jobs on that second page that has a range from 33 to 53 and from 13 to 33. And one of those is your colonel, who is the leader of the program. The other one is your instructor. And that pay for those job descriptions is based on what they call a MIP, their minimal instructor pay. And sometimes those vary a little bit as to where they fall. And sometimes Felicia and I are sitting there with a shoehorn trying to fit them into a certain category. And because it said we had to pay 53 days, or it said we had to pay 33. So we wanted to give ourselves some flexibility. We have currently entered into an agreement with a instructor for our ROTC program. We just recently hired Colonel Wicker for that program. So he's here. He's getting everything started. In September, we'll hire the lead instructor for that program. So we'll have that program back to staff. It's just a matter right now, we can't give him a contract until we get that MIP, and that will allow us to fit him into the schedule wherever he needs to go. Also, I think there was a change in the extra service pay. We did add a coaching position, and you'll find it, I believe, under, is it under the $500 level, Felicia? And it's the esports coach. And as you know, we've got several, hopefully this year we're bringing back archery. You know, we've got a bass team that has been very successful. Cheer is also a sport activity. We're going to be bringing on esports this year. And it's just a matter of what teams that we're going to have. We're waiting on some further information with the Kentucky High School Athletic Association concerning the games that they will be playing. But I know some people say esports. What kind of sport's that? You know, what's the big deal about video games? Listen, I'm just going to say this. I believe that anything we can do that can get a kid involved in school and make them happy about coming to school and want to come to school, I believe we need to pursue it if we can. And we've got a young man that's very interested in offering this, so we needed to pay a stipend for this, and that was the other thing. That's the only other addition, wasn't it, Felicia? Was there one more change?
We added the source STEM training.
Yes.
On the next to the last page. I do have a correction on that. That was not $100 per day. That was just $100 for the training. And they trained for 3 days. So it's just a stipend of $100.
So we can add $100 per training and just change that from day to training. And that would be that revision for that one. We don't like to pay anybody. Angie gets a little nervous if I go up there and we say we're going to pay somebody. If it's not on the salary schedule, the auditors get real nervous with that. You know, because by law, we can only pay off of a uniform salary schedule. So we just can't pay people willy-nilly, you know. Let's give this person $50 or give this person $1,000. We are not allowed to do that. So we want to make sure we got everything in there. So those are the only revisions. We have the change of the ROTC, days of service. We have the esports coaching position, and we have the $100 per training fee that was part of a grant to help those teachers offset their costs.
There was some revisions with Jason Bowles came and went over the band booster contribution on this extra service has to match what they pay to. So we made that work. So the band booster part of the extra service was made to fit what the money they had with the boosters. So.
Yeah, the band boosters fund those positions, and usually if they do that, we have to be careful when it's sports. We just can't allow one of our sports teams to pay 4 or 5 different assistant positions, because then it puts us in a Title IX problem. But we don't have a problem with Title IX when it comes to band, so they do fund a couple positions, and those have been corrected. So my recommendation is to approve that salary schedule for the 1920 school year, and that should be it unless we have something else come up.
A second. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next on the agenda we have our consent or action items.
Thank you all, and for the last, and those are 2 big things: the tax rate for our community not increasing, and matter of fact decreasing, and the pay raise for our employees. So thank you all for both of those things, and I know our employees and community is thankful for those 2 as well. Consent items, of course you got your meeting minutes, payment of bills. Just wanted to report to you, we are actively trying to purchase a van. The reason why we're able to purchase that van for student travel, number one, our Suburban, that has been a excellent vehicle over the years, has conked out. It does not leave Estill County. If it leaves Estill County, we're not going to tow it back. So wherever it's at, if it dies somewhere, it may be where it's left at. But we don't take that vehicle out of county with students any longer because of the grant that we received from the Estill Foundation, or Still Reese Foundation, that offset the one-to-one computer initiative. We've rebudgeted that money in order to buy a student van for transport. We've got a counseling contract, and Mountain Comp Care has agreed to place a mental health counselor at our high school to help us with our Sources of Strength initiative that we're starting, which is a teen suicide prevention program. Hog Therapy is a group that we've worked with in the past, and they'll be working with us to supply speech therapy services. We have a science learning grant that we are trying to get for West Irvin, MOU with Berea College, and we have the second reading of the policy revision from the last board meeting, and you have that policy revision there and it was concerning the change in use of school property and the MVR checks for our drivers, people that drive our student vehicles. My recommendation is to approve the consent items. If you have no questions.
I was not here, so I won't vote on the meeting notes if I'll.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent items.
A second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Okay, next on the agenda, we have public comments. There's anybody here?
Everybody with the public happy?
I thought Dickie was going to stand up, but
No comment
he
from Dickie?
did. Dickie, did you have a comment?
You
You put your
announcing your
glasses.
retirement?
You put your glasses on. I
You
thought maybe you
bold
had a
up there a
comment.
minute ago. You said you're retiring.
I got a speech prepared, you wanna hear it?
No.
Moving on.
We may not recognize retirees the year you retire.
We have the superintendent's report in the board member forum.
You got your notification of personnel actions there. Also, I wanted to give you a different energy report, and something Jeremy and I ran into is that when this energy report was first set up, it was set up to run June through basically July to June. And what happens is you don't get your June utility bills until July. So actually, it was really hard to see from year to year how much you actually saved. So let's do away with that one and look at this report here, and it'll sort of tell you what the school district saved for this school year. And from now on, Jeremy's made this correction. It'll be a little bit easier for us to, Jeremy, if you want to hand those out, I'm going to make copies for everybody, and they can put them in their report. So tell you how important energy usage is and what you can save. If you look at that very first page, that is the new year-to-date report. And the one that you had actually took July's bills and put them into this coming school year. Well, that was June's bill, so we wanted to make sure, let's give you a report of what we did for the school year. And if you look at those, you can see what the 17-18 total bill was, or actual kilowatt usage, and what it was in 18-19. And out here to the side, you can see the change in terms of what the school district saved in utility bills this past year as compared to 2 years ago. And you'll notice that there is a big change at West Urban, and that's because at the time, you remember we were having a lot of trouble year before last at West Urban, and we were able to get some things done there that resulted in a huge energy savings in that building. So that's a testament to not only our maintenance staff, and but it's also a testament to Miss Arvin and her school for conserving energy. And you're just now starting to see the reduction at Estill Springs, and I think West Urban was the third one down, and it left the buildings off of that chart, Jeremy. But if you look at the next page over, West Urban is the third one down. That's the one that shows $18,000 reduction. And then the very next one is Estill Springs, and we're just starting to see that reduction. It was down 15.1%, but remember, that building didn't come online full go until about March. That's when the final thing done. You're going to see a huge reduction at Estill Springs this coming year. The only two buildings that we actually used more electricity in this past year was the bus, not the bus garage, but adult education and the old high school. You're saying, well, why in the world is the old high school up? Well, it's up, but you can see it only really cost us an extra $160, but that was because of the construction trailer. They tied into that building a lot to run some construction equipment and stuff, and that's why it's up. So you can see for the school year, we actually saved $42 or $42,000 over what we did the previous year in utility usage. So that's money that can go back and, for instance, hire a kindergarten teacher at Estill Springs because they've got too many kids. they're in need of another kindergarten. And, you know, it's one of the things that's something that I can do. I don't have to ask y'all for your approval, but I'm telling you right now, we've got to have a kindergarten teacher. And we're going to wait just a couple weeks. You know, we have until like that September. It's really a second month thing that you can do. We want to make sure those numbers are going to hold, but based on right now, they need a kindergarten teacher. They've got 26 kindergarten kids per classroom, and one of them has 25. So it not only comes with the teacher, it comes with also another aide, but savings like that's what's allow you to make those kind of decisions and not have to worry about it.
And I think it really goes to show when we look on the next page for the July, which is, we just got the July bill here in August, so this is accurate. We have already saved $10,000 just in 1 month for the month of July. And you'll notice all the green on there, that's simply due to the energy upgrades, the efforts of our staff to turn the lights off, close the doors, and turn the projectors off and things of that nature. It really makes an impact.
Now, at some point in time, these numbers are going to cap out. We're going to get to where that's it. Still, it's a big testament to what we're doing in terms of, you can't imagine how important it is to turn out a light, to not burn lights when you don't need them. So it's a big thing. Pretty good report for you to look at. Also, my activity report, as I give to you all every month, just to sort of talk about or let you all know the things that I've done during the past month, and this just highlights a few of those things, and you ought to pass those if you want to. Couple things. The one thing I would point out, the KDE visit that Rhonda and Donna and I went and met with KDE on July 25th, and that was concerning the land purchase and the bus garage. And I tell you what, it makes a big difference when you're sitting with KDE consultants and you got a couple of board members sitting with you. They look at things a whole lot different, and we sure got a lot different reception in that meeting than I was getting over the telephone and some of the correspondence that I was getting. And I feel like they pretty much fast-tracked us to get to where we need to be. Right now, I think both of these projects, the ATC and the bus garage, will go to bid sometime middle to late September. We're going to sell bonds the last week of October. That's also including the land purchase, so I feel really good about those three items moving forward. And the last item I'll point out is that we can't rest on what we're doing. If we made the promise that we was going to look at that high school and athletic facilities, I had the first meeting today to start talking about that high school and what we want to do in terms of HVAC and controls for that system. It's not the fact that the high school is an energy hog, but what's happening is that the comfort level in that building is not what it should be, because you have some rooms that are ice cold, you have some rooms that are hot, and that's because of the control system. If you just look at the energy bills, most people say, well, high school's in good shape, and it is in terms of energy usage, but it's not a comfortable building. So there's some things that need to be done to that building. Of course, athletic facilities and the different things that we talked about. Those things don't happen overnight, so you got to start having those conversations now. So that's what that is about. Other than that, as we go down there, the only other thing, we've talked a lot. I would like for you to look at that teacher mentor program flow chart, and I want you to know that with the teacher shortage, and I know some people think that the teacher shortage is not real. I can tell you that it is real. The tweet that I made several weeks ago was a true tweet. We still have positions right now that are open, and we're trying to fill, and hopefully by the end of next week we'll be able to fill those positions. But it's across the entire state of Kentucky, and sometimes we are now seeing people coming in with alternate certifications or alternative certification programs, and our core team and Tanya has talked about or has looked into, okay, how do we support those teachers? Hopefully, and it's not just with teachers, we're starting to try to do the same thing with our custodians. I mean, Tim never brings a bus driver on without them going through extensive training to be able to be a bus driver or a bus monitor. Well, we're guilty sometimes. We'll hire somebody to be a custodian. You know, you would think everybody knows how to clean, but now cleaning a house is different than cleaning a school. And so sometimes we just throw people out there and say, go clean. Well, we get the results we get because sometimes we're too short-sighted. We don't think about, does this person need help? Well, that's especially true in the classroom. If you have a teacher that has not come through a traditional education program and they're going into a classroom for the first time, then they need to have somebody that they can talk to, somebody that can mentor them and help them. And I want y'all to see that flow chart, that we're trying to address that need. We're just not throwing people in a classroom that have no help. I don't know what else I can say about the EDA and Still Reese Foundation grants. You know, one day we get a $40,000 grant, which was a blessing for our one-to-one computer program. We was one of only like 5 or 6 middle schools in the entire country that got that grant. They usually don't support middle school initiatives, but they did this one. And we feel good about the fact that we believe they're going to support it again next year, the same initiative. So we got $40,000, and that's a big celebration. Then everybody sort of forgot about that the next day when we get the word that the $4 million EDA grant come through. And I don't know if everybody realizes how fortunate we are as a school district and a community to receive not only $4 million from EDA federal grant, but also a $5.7 million Work Ready Skills Initiative grant from the Workforce Cabinet, which is state funded. That's $9.7 million on a $13 million project. That's unheard of. You want to talk about a true state, federal, and local project. That is a true state, local, and federal project. And we're blessed to be able to get that kind of money. And this is the work of our team out here that worked on those grants. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, Miss Charlotte O'Brien sitting right here, her and Miss Teresa Dawes worked tirelessly on that $4 million grant. And I know they had a lot of people help them, but they were there every day. Every time that email, they were meeting, they were answering those emails and answering those documents. I give them a lot of credit. And it takes a team effort for those things to happen. I'm just fortunate to be a part of that team. I'm telling you, I'm tickled to death to be a part of it. So that's a big thing. One of the things you all have asked me to do is the communication and the culture of a school district. We're going to start publishing e-news, and that starts in September. So the first of every month, everyone, the community and our employees are going to get the e-news, and it's going to be over 21 or 22 different subjects. We've added attendance to this since we've actually gave this to you, and it'll go out. And what happens, each of these individuals or each of these different areas is assigned to a particular individual. Couldn't find it?
No, we can't read it.
Can't read it?
Another language.
That's German. Don't y'all know German?
No.
Oh. We had to put something in there to be a filler for these items, but each of these topics, there's a person assigned to these topics. Sometimes there are 2 or 3 people assigned, and just based on what's available for that week. For instance, employee news. Felicia's in charge of that one. So, for instance, coming up in October will be open enrollment again. So that would be a good topic for her to talk about that month. It's open enrollment for our employees. We just had the 1% pay raise. That's a good thing to talk about on the September one maybe, or there might be something else. And we'll be getting this information out in an effort to communicate. And we don't always get everything out, but if anybody has a question, all they got to do is pick up the phone. It's better to pick up the phone and ask than it is to believe a bad rumor. And sometimes there are some bad rumors out there, and I can't help but laugh sometimes at them, some of the things that we see posted out there. But bottom line, Everybody knows my telephone number. I'm not giving it. If you don't have it by now, I'm not giving it to you again. So the bottom line, you can call me at any time. KSBA regional meeting, 9/16. We'll all go over to Lee County. If y'all, maybe we'll have our new van. We can drive it over that day.
Joe's driving.
Jenny's driving?
Yeah.
We'll have to get you record checked
You're
before
not
we let
allowed.
you drive. And then just an update on enrollment numbers, so everybody will know. Enrollment numbers, if you look at enrollment numbers and you look at the students that right now that are entering virtual school that's not in, we're probably up 4 or 5 students over what we ended the school year. We are down a little bit from last year, but overall, our enrollment has stayed steady, and that's a good thing. And especially, it's been really good. We had right at 170 kindergartens last year, and we've got 182 kindergarten students, I believe, as of today.
650.
What's that?
I think there's 650.
650 kindergarten? If you count all the egos,
If you count them all.
if you count the criers of the morning and the criers in the afternoon, everything's 600 and some, but
They're everywhere.
they're up to 182, and listen, that's great news for this school district. There was 3 straight years we were under 150 students, and I was really worried about our enrollment in this school district, but it's leveled off, and that's good news. That's my report. I know it was a little bit long, but I wanted to make sure that you all had that.
Anything from the board? We will need a motion to go into closed session. You second? Any discussion? All in favor?